The Florida primary is now behind us and the 10-week sprint to the general election begins. In the governor's race, there were no real surprises as both Democrat David Jolly and Republican Byron Donalds won their respective primaries and will face off in November.
Together, we will not just be defending the Florida dream, we will take the Florida dream to a whole new level.
A coalition rooted in the everyday majority that understands the economy should continue to grow, but it's got to grow for everybody. That we embrace capitalism, that we let the private sector lead.
That should be a good one. But the real shocker of the night was Angie Nixon defeating retired Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vindman. Vindman was recruited by Democratic Party leaders to run for the Senate. He had raised more than $16 million and was already looking ahead to November when along came Nixon, who raised less than $1 million but seemed to be everywhere. Nixon will now face Ashley Moody, who wasted no time attacking Nixon on election night.
I want you to look at the election results tonight. My opponent will be a self-proclaimed socialist that proudly signed up and joined the Democratic Socialists of America.
And Nixon immediately fired back.
Some folks like Ashley Moody like to claim the mantle of morality, yet their actions tell a very different story. But we put actions behind our words. So Ashley Moody can call it whatever she wants. She can call us whatever she wants. But in November, she will call me senator.
Now, I sat down with Nixon after her win and started with the question on everybody's mind. How did she do it?
We won this campaign because of good old-fashioned grassroots, people-powered organizing. I am a former union organizer. I'm a community organizer. And I know the importance of going out and talking to people all across the state if I wanted to, in fact, become their next United States Senator. And that's what happened. We talked to people and we kept it on the issues. We didn't make it about personal attacks or anything like that. We really focused on what the needs and concerns were that we were hearing for nearly this past year. And so I am super excited that folks saw me fit to make me their Democratic nominee, and we believe we'll be successful in November as well.
In looking at an analysis of some of the voting, it seemed like where you really had your key strength, you won across most of the state, but Duval, the Orange County, Osceola area, and then Florida District 24 really voted for you in overwhelming numbers. And I'm wondering if it was it really about the DSA label, or do you think it was more about the African American community and the message that you had on economic issues?
So it was actually the efforts that we did just on the ground. We spent a lot of time all across the state. I saw that even in Escambia County, it went for us. And that's because we've spent time there and we talked to people and we talked about the issues that they cared about. It wasn't about labels. And we can argue all day about labels. I have a lot of them attached to me, right? But at the end of the day, it's about the needs of the people. And I have shown that throughout my entire adult career, I am always about putting people first. People over politics, people over profit, and even people over party. And I don't agree with everything and every organization, like everyone's full platform. Like that's what makes us great in this country, right? But I do want to be clear, Jim, like I am not a socialist. I am someone who just really cares about people and believe that hardworking everyday people should get to shape what our communities look like and what our economies look like. I believe that everyday people should be the ones that are telling us lawmakers the types of policies and the types of legislation that we should be putting forward. You know, I was a single mom for 12 years, Jim. I know what it's like to struggle and to have to make the tough decisions on whether or not I have enough money to go buy my daughter her asthma pump, or do I have to choose between that or putting food on the table? Those are decisions that people here in the state of Florida and across our country should never have to make.
So you said something a second ago that I want to go back to because you just flat out declared, I am not a socialist. So if you're not a socialist, why did you join the Democratic Socialists of America?
So the Democratic Socialists of America, because they fight for access to quality health care. They're fighting for allowing people to have control of the government. They are fighting to make sure that our schools are fully funded, fully funded. They are fighting to make sure that people have housing. We have veterans that are living on the streets. We have educators that are leaving the profession and actually leaving the state of Florida because they can no longer afford to live here. And so, I believe in a big tent. And I guess you can say that I'm more of a social democrat, so to speak. But I am joining organizations. I joined the Working Families Party because they are fighting for working people.
Where do you disagree with the DSA?
So I do not believe in abolishing prisons. I believe in abolishing for-profit prisons because I don't believe in exploiting cheap labor, having free labor in the form of those folks who are incarcerated. I believe that there is a direct correlation between these Republicans trying to destroy public education so that they can usher our children into the school to prison pipeline so that they can make more money off of them. I don't agree with defunding the police. I've never stated that ever. I'm not supportive of that. I'm just supportive of people-focused, people-centered policies.
So one of the things that you're going to get hit with, even though you now say you're not a socialist because your attachment to DSA earlier in the campaign, Ashley Moody is going to refer to you as a socialist. You're going to see, tens of millions of dollars in advertising branding you a socialist or a communist. Ashley Moody is now referring to you as comrade. How do you combat that? And especially in a place like South Florida, where that conversation is often a very painful one for those people who fled Cuba, who fled socialist regimes, communist regimes, and whose family members lost their lives to those regimes. How do you win those people back and convince them that you're not a threat to them?
So I go and I have conversations to them. I want to be clear, Jim. They were already labeling me all kinds of things, radicals, extremists. They're going to do that regardless because they can't find anything against me in regards to saying that I'm going to hurt people. Like, I'm not about that, right? So they will make things up. And so I'm going to go talk to people and have real conversations with them. I don't run away from conversations, even if it makes me uncomfortable. If I want to be the next United States Senator, I have to have conversations with people and listen to them, even if we differ ideologically. And look, at the end of the day, I understand how folks feel in regards to extreme regimes and executives. Like, we're under Donald Trump.
Well, let me put it this way. Let me jump in and just sort of say this. DSA just in the last 10 days or so, on the anniversary of Fidel Castro's birthday, 100 years since he was born, put out a statement praising Fidel Castro. Do you think Fidel Castro was a good leader? Do you think Fidel Castro is somebody who should be praised?
I don't believe he's someone that should be praised. I also don't believe that Donald Trump is someone that should be praised as well. But I want to be clear. I am putting people first, and I care about people, and I care about the trauma that people may have experienced if they were over in Cuba or any other area where socialism was a thing. But I also want to highlight that we're feeling a lot of oppression and trauma right now in America, and we have to do things differently. We have to put the government back in the hands of the people and to allow people to decide the types of policies that we want. And overwhelmingly, the people are pushing for universal health care. The people are pushing for us to have fully funded public education. The people are pushing to ensure that we get these private equity firms out of buying up all of these single family homes. Single families should own single family homes. We are tired of working harder than ever with nothing to show for it. But meanwhile, our government under Ashley Moody and Donald Trump want to continue to bail out these big corporations, but don't look out for these small business owners. They don't look out for these people who are working hard and getting less and less and less. I am looking out for the regular everyday people because I am a regular everyday person.
I know you don't believe that the social media post by Rachel Vindman was a big factor. Here's where I thought it was relevant, and I just want to get your thought on it. There were a lot of people, I think, who weren't sure whether or not to embrace you. And I think you've had, I think it's fair to say, at times even a challenging relationship with your own caucus in the legislature. And yet, when that post came out, and it seemed so, and it was clearly so disrespectful to you, to an African American woman running for the United States Senate, that it hit a nerve, that it angered a lot of people.
I don't think it necessarily sparked me getting any more votes, but what it did bring up and highlight is the fact that people are struggling, right? I have 5 kids between me and my husband. We have a blended family, a beautiful family, and it's hard right now, right? I shop at Goodwill. There's absolutely nothing wrong with shopping at Goodwill. Number one, they have great deals. But number two, they're also helping me lower my carbon footprint. So it's also an environmental justice factor for me. But again, that goes back to what I stated earlier, Jim. Hardworking, everyday people should be the ones that are determining the direction of this country, our economies, and our communities. We don't need elitists just running this country. We don't need just the billionaires and the millionaires and the doctors and the lawyers running this country. There's nothing wrong with someone who was a 12-year single mom who now owns a bookstore and coffee shop that helps employ neighborhood kids. It's nothing wrong with me running for United States Senate. We should be encouraging hardworking everyday people to run for office because they are the ones who these policies that we would pass would actually help benefit, right? And so I'm happy that it came out, but I'm happy in a way in which I've been able to allow folks to realize that they are enough. There's nothing wrong with who they are. They should be running for office. There's nothing wrong with not having a lot of money, right? We are all Americans and we deserve the same things to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. And I'm definitely going to fight for that. And that's what I'm fighting for right now.